Well, morning everybody. Insights Channel, Steve here. Today I'm going to talk to you about a prophecy I gave back in 2019. What came to me after hearing about a very strange experience, and that was of a dragon appearing in the sky in the Aurora Borealis, and how it paints itself different things in the Aurora Borealis. Well, a dragon was clearly painted on the same day that also a phoenix was painted, and that happened on the 22nd of the 2nd, 2019. Now, at the time, I said, and you can see the whole story, I won't get into it, but in one of my latest books, Out the Bottomless Pit 2, chapter 35, which is called A Dragon and a Phoenix. I'll just read a little bit from there. It says, "It's quite amazing to me that any clear shape could randomly form itself in the upper atmosphere, or in the Aurora Borealis, and also be a part of the amazing colourful Aurora Borealis over Iceland on the 22nd of the 2nd, 2019. What are the chances that another clear shape was also spotted on the very same day?" So you had first of all, the dragon was seen, and also a phoenix. Now, assuming that both phenomena are not proven to be hoaxes, highly unlikely, the source is from NASA. Right, www.lifescience.com. This is more than coincidental, and some would say that it's simply impossible to have two clear shapes like that. And yet there they are, the two very distinct shapes. Furthermore, both of the pictures are what is classified as supernatural beings and mythological creatures. Why were the shapes exactly these two mystical, supernatural creatures? I said at the time, why not a sheep and an owl, for example? Is there a reason for these two pictures to have been painted in the sky? Who painted them onto the Aurora Borealis? Was it God himself that painted these pictures as a warning of things that are very soon to come upon the entire earth? Are these clear pictures what many would call a sign in the heavens, or even a sign of the times? Now let's look at what is the significance about the dragon and a phoenix. And I went on in that chapter to talk about the background of a dragon and also the meaning of a mythological creature like the phoenix. It was actually fascinating. But you can read that in my book, Out the Bottomless Pit 2. Later on in the chapter, I said, these two amazing depictions in the sky really couldn't be any clearer. It's talking about the warfare between Jesus and Satan. Revelation 12:7. There was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. It's also indicative that Satan is about to come on the world scene in the form of his son, the Antichrist, who will rule the world for 7 years. In the midst of 7 years will start 3.5 years of great tribulation. Now, I want to bring your attention here to yet another book of mine. This one's the first one on the Insights, Enoch Insights. Look at this in the book of Enoch, the very first verse. Very first verse. "The words of the blessing of Enoch, wherewith he blessed the elect and righteous, who will be living in the day of tribulation, when all the wicked and godless are to be removed." Well, thank God for that. That's what we're all looking forward to. The removal of those who are ruining God's creation. Can't wait to see them judged. Anyway, what I'm getting to here is just 6 months after this was seen in the sky, a dragon and a phoenix, what happened on the world scene? And what happened since? It's been 3.5 years now since that vision in the sky. 3.5 years, and that's a very significant number, 3.5 years. If you look at Revelation, and you talk about tribulation, there's a time of 3.5 years. Anyway, it's been 3.5 years since that vision in the sky, the dragon, the phoenix, and you know what happened around about November 2019. I don't need to go into details, and I'm not at liberty to say it on this channel, but you know what happened, and you know what happened on a world scale, and you know the very tight controls came in, and you know it was tight controls which I would describe like when Satan is his dragon mode. Some pastors say, well, the dragon has two modes. He's either like the snake, where he's in the background being sneaky, like with Eve and stuff. Then he has his dragon mode when he's right in your face, arrogant, telling you what to do, pressing you down. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, the last, especially 2020, 2021, during those years, we saw a lot of oppression all over the world. It was ridiculous how oppressive it was. Well, the big question is it over? I said about, at the time when it was happening, I said, well, I see it as a tidal wave that's come in, but I see the tidal wave is going to go back out again. Now, I don't want people to be alarmed, and I just ask people to pray desperately it does not happen, or it's stopped, but we all know from the Bible there's going to be a time of great tribulation. Now, some believe that it can't happen until you get the last 7 years, and you get the temple, or third temple, built in Jerusalem first, and then you'll have 3.5 years of plastic peace with the Antichrist, and then you'll have the tribulation start when he starts becoming very demonic. Some say that, others think that we're about to hit the tribulation. Other good friends of mine I know in other countries, they think we're about to hit the tribulation. Who's right? Do we have 7 years yet? Are we just going through rough times leading up to the last 7 years and the rise of the Antichrist? That's the way I see it. Others seem to think that tribulation is just around the corner. Well, one thing I can ask you to do is please pray that what you saw happen in late 2019, 20 and 21, that it doesn't return. Because yet just yesterday I was reading something, a good source, who was saying, please pray this doesn't happen, but it looks like they're going to bring back another tidal wave. Tidal wave of events like you saw that hit the whole world. Total clampdown, one of these kind of dragon or draconian ways of doing things. And it's stated that it's going to start in mid-September 2023. It's going to be a big clampdown. Now I hope those sources are wrong, and they even said themselves, well, just pray it doesn't happen or it gets delayed or shoved back. But I just wanted to warn people there is a distinct possibility that there are some draconian or dragon-like tactics coming of the kind of clampdown and total control that we saw late 2019 and 2021, and the world didn't quite recover from all the things involved. I'm not at liberty to talk about all things involved, you know what they are. But please be prepared in case this comes back in mid-September. Let's hope and pray it does not, but let's be as prepared as we possibly can. Because the source I got that from is reliable. And you want to know more on this, well, I'd like you to go on my website, which is www.outofthebottomlesspit.co.uk, and you'll see some distinct articles there. One about what I just talked about, the possibility of the tidal wave of what happened in 2019, 2021 on a world scale coming back again. But there's also a very good explanation of what happened in Maui or Hawaii recently. That was not natural. That was not natural. That was energy wave beams, weapons. You know, so it has to be very late in time. I have to agree with that, with what's going on in this planet. And if you read my books on the paranormal, supernatural, Out of the Bottomless Pit 1 and 2, I'm convinced that mankind, you ask this question, why is it that it's fulfilled what they said in the book of Daniel? And it says in the book of Daniel, it says, people shall run to and fro, talk about the end times, and knowledge shall be increased. And as you know, knowledge has been drastically increased in the last 120 years, as regards to the last many thousands of years. A big question is why? What happened in the 18th century, or 19th century, in the late 19th? What happened? Something did. Something went on, and I'm convinced some sort of pact was made with the underworld, whereby man gave them what they wanted, and man got knowledge, science. But as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, most of what they've created has been very evil, like atomic bombs and things like that. They've created so much evil on this planet, and that's why I really like chapter 1 of the book Enoch, which is just fantastic. As I said before, chapter 1 of Enoch, or you can read my book Enoch Insights, and before, like I said, I quoted from Out the Bottomless Pit 2, one of my books. I'll read this again from Enoch, just a little bit. The words of the blessing of Enoch, wherewith he blessed the elect and righteous who will be living in the day of tribulation, when all the wicked and godless are to be removed. Thank God for that. Comment 1. Who is Enoch addressing in his very first verse of chapter 1? He's probably talking about those of us who will be alive in the great tribulation, as mentioned in Matthew 24, 29-31 by Jesus himself, in the book of Revelations 12, 6 and 14. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, the moon shall not give a light, the stars shall fall from heaven, the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Revelation 12:6. And a woman fled into the wilderness, which had a place prepared of God. They should feed her there 1,260 days. Yeah, I talked about that in one of my audios recently. A very exciting thing. Tribulation is not to be feared by those who are truly saved and love Jesus. It's going to be a victorious time. A victorious time of faith when you won't be interfered with by Satan. You'll be able to stand up with full faith. Verse 2. And he took up this parable and said, Enoch, a righteous man, whose eyes were opened by God, saw the vision of the Holy One in the heavens, which the angels showed me, and from them I heard everything, and from them I understood as I saw, but not for this generation, but for a remote one which was to come. Comment 2. Not for this generation, but for a remote one. In other words, in the far future, in the last days in which we now live. Enoch is addressing us, who live in the last days. Quite amazing. No one realized that Enoch originally wrote this book around 5,000 years ago. Verse 3. Concerning the elect I said, and took up my parable concerning them. The Holy Great One will come forth from his dwelling, and the eternal God will tread upon the earth, even on Mount Sinai, and appear from his camp, and appear in the strength of his might from the heaven of heavens. Comment 3. The book of Enoch is for the elect to know about in particular. The elect are from all races, and are those who received Jesus Christ as their personal Saviour. Acts 4:12. Neither is there salvation in any other, Jesus, for there is none other name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved. Comment 4. Mount Sinai is the same mountain that God gave the 10 Commandments to Moses on around 1500 BC. Exodus 19:1-3. Verse 4. All shall be smitten with fear, and the watchers shall quake. Great fear and trembling shall seize them unto the ends of the earth. Yeah, it's about time those arrogant fallen angels and bad spirits and all the people that behind all the rulers, it's about time they quake and tremble in fear in the presence of God and stop acting like there is no God and no consequence for their actions. There is, and it's coming. And the high mountains shall be shaken, the high hills shall be made low, shall melt like wax before the flame. Comment 5. Watchers equals the fallen angels in this particular case. Watchers is a term used for both good and bad angels. Daniel 4:17. This matter is by the decree of the watchers, and the demand of the word of the holy ones. Verse 5. And the earth shall be wholly rent in sunder, and all that is upon the earth shall perish, and there shall be a judgment upon all. But with the righteous he will make peace, and will protect the elect, and mercy shall be upon them, and they shall all belong to God, and they shall be prospered. and they shall all be blessed, and he will help them all. Light shall appear unto them, and he will make peace with them. Isaiah 24:1. Behold, the Lord makes the earth empty, makes it waste, turns it upside down, scatters abroad the inhabitants thereof. Revelation 6:14. And the earth departed as a scroll when it is rolled together. Every mountain, island were moved out of their places. John 8:12. Then spoke Jesus again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that follows me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. Verse 6, the book of Enoch, chapter 1:6. And behold, he cometh with 10,000s of his holy ones, to execute judgment upon all, destroy all the ungodly, convict all flesh of all the works of their ungodliness, which they have ungodly committed, and the hard things which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. Jude 1:40 says all the same thing in the New Testament. Obviously taken from the book of Enoch. And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000 times 10,000 of his saints. Comment 6. This above verse clearly shows how the disciples of Christ had access to the book of Enoch 2,000 years ago. Revelation 14:1. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads. And that's the end of Enoch, or first book of Enoch, chapter 1. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. I do encourage people to get my Insights books, of which there are 8 Insights books. This one's Enoch Insights. And I have 2 other books on the paranormal, supernatural, which are full of information of what's going on behind the scenes of this world. And they're called Out of the Bottomless Pit, Book 1 and Book 2. Now, thanks for listening. See you again.